Hey everybody, Chris Johnson from Money Morning, here to update you on that September 3rd video and chart that I gave you on Nvidia. 130,000 of you watched that, and I've got plenty of requests to update us as we go into October and where the buy the dip opportunities may be. So we're going to take 5 or 10 minutes, jump into that chart, as well as the technical indicators that you need to be watching right now and the options market and what they're doing. They're drawing some lines in Nvidia that mean we're going to see another buy the dip opportunity again in October. Maybe a little bit of an October surprise. Give me 5 or 10 minutes. We're going to go through all of that. You'll be a better investor afterwards. Let's jump into it right now. All right, everybody. As I said, 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to go through real quickly the chart that I gave you September 3rd and what the stock has done since then. But most importantly, we're going to look at October and take a look at where you might get a chance to buy the dip in Nvidia. Real importantly, I'm going to give you a couple of lessons today on why you watch the technicals and the options market, more importantly, right now. And the options market is screaming something today, October 1st, 2024, about where Nvidia may go here over the next three or 4 weeks, let's call it. So this is the video that kind of started this discussion. 130,000 of you watched it. Thanks very much for the comments. I got some positive comments. I got some constructive criticism, we'll call it as well, when I called for $80 as a possible long shot buy. I told you there would be support at $100 for the stock. Here's the chart that we looked at. $100 as support, short-term support, and then long-term buy price of $80. Now, let me just explain something real quickly. I'm an Nvidia bull. If you ask me whether I want to own the stock, whether I think the stock is a good stock to own long-term, the answer is going to be yes. They own their market right now, and you want to own the companies that own their markets. Nvidia is no exception here. So when I talk about dipping down a certain level, maybe 15%, 20%, it's because I'm looking to add to those positions. Let's look at that chart one more time because part of this chart is still in play. And that is, first of all, the pivot prices. Right now, you'll notice if you hold the stock, it's been trading around $120. It actually popped up to $130 last week. And this is last month's chart. Let's take a look at this and it'll look like a little deja vu. The stock is actually trading right around that $120 level again, and that's after dipping down to $100 just 4 or 5 days after I did that first video. Why is it hanging around there? Well, you've got 2 reasons. As I say, you always want to watch the technicals when the market starts to see uncertainty. And right now, with the geopolitical tensions that are going on around the world, we've got some fear that's starting to creep into the market. Just look at the VIX and some of these other indicators to tell you that fear is starting to become an issue as we move into October. Also, don't forget, September is the worst month of the year. October is always that comeback kid, and we usually see a dip, a nice hard dip in October, just to kind of blow out the carbon from the engine, if you will, right before we hit that strong rip of a bull market that takes us into year end. I don't think that's going to be any different this year, but what happens with Nvidia? We're trading around that 120 level, and that is still going to be your pivot price. If we break down below that 20 and that 50-day moving average, and both of those trend lines are well watched by the market. So if we start to break below it, notice how they provided resistance here. If we start to break below that again, you're going to see selling accelerate. Always watch that 50-day moving average. Another notable thing here with Nvidia, notice how that 50-day moving average has been going lower. Well, if I back this chart out and let's look back more than a year, last time that we saw Nvidia's 50-day moving average was right in here in 2023, September. And the stock kind of traded in a wide range. That's a neutral trend line when it starts to go sideways like that. And Nvidia abided. It wasn't until we saw the stock hit January where things took off to the races here. So you got to watch that 50-day moving average. If we start to stay level like this, it's going to call for a trading range with Nvidia. Obviously, the company came out with good earnings and upped their forecast in terms of revenue, but right now a lot of that is still priced into the price of the stock. So what is going to drive it? First of all, it's that technical trend line. Watch that 50 and that 20-day. If we broke below $115 over the next, let's call it week, you're going to see selling accelerated. Now, I mentioned the options market earlier. This is where things get interesting. And when I say options market, don't walk away and say, this isn't going to be for me. This is an indicator of where the stock may be headed. So right now on October 1st, this is where the open interest lies on the puts and the calls for Nvidia. A call is an option that you buy when you think the stock's going to go higher. A put you buy when you think the stock is going to go lower. What is very interesting here is this huge strike of put open interest that's at the $100 price level. It was the same in August. It was the same in September. And when we look at what the chart did, every time we touch down at $100, it rebounds. That's because there's a mechanics involved in all of that open interest that's sitting here. And like I said, that 100 strike has been the peak put open interest strike for 4 months now on Nvidia. So the options market has been drawing a line there. It could be put sellers that want to buy the stock like myself at $100, or it could be speculators thinking the stock is going to go lower. And you'll notice there are a lot of those put open interest strikes that are pretty heavy down here. A lot of these are most likely people that want to buy the stock at those lower prices by executing a put sell. We're not going to get into that. The other side of that, if you look at the open interest, that's the 130 strike with all of that call open interest. Now, last week, we had Nvidia run up, and look, it didn't quite make it, but it got close. It got above that 125 on an intraday basis. That is going to be your line in the sand for October in terms of an all clear. So we're starting to draw some lines now using the technicals and the options. Right now, 115 is your pivot point for the stock based on that 50-day and that 20-day moving average. If we break below that, the next level is going to be right around that 110. Now, I mentioned what the options market was doing right now today. The stock is down about 2%, 3% or so. Look at this. This is the actual the volume that is trading today on Nvidia. So this, if we sit around and watch it, will change because it does have a live feed. That's the 110 strike right now. A lot of volume trading on that option in the October expiration, the October 110s. This, unfortunately, is more speculators coming in and saying they think that the price is going to drop below that 115. And right in here is where you've got the 115 with the calls coming in and break below that 110, which would push us down to that $100 level, which hasn't changed in terms of a bottom right now because of all that put open interest that's lying there. So let me wrap all of this up for you and kind of give you an easy summary. When we look at it, the 115 is going to be that pivot price, 115, 120. A break below 110, that is going to be your line in the sand for an acceleration in the selling that's going to take us 10%, 11% lower down to that 100 level. If we see support at that 100 level from the put open interest, which I think we will, that's going to be your buy the dip opportunity for October and Nvidia before the stock comes back up to that 120, and I think grab some positive momentum at that time. At worst, it remains in a trading range, but a break below that 100 is going to see even more acceleration. We'll rip through that 95 down to a 90 strike, and yeah, if things were to get out of hand in the month of October, and we were to see these geopolitical events continue to go much, much higher, and a lot more fear coming in, you could see that 85 or 80 print on Nvidia, at which point I would be backing up the truck and buying with both hands. A lot of these technology stocks have not been able to gain traction through the month of September. October, we'll see. But even in July and August, they were kind of lagging the rest of the market. So they're looking for an opportunity to rally, and that should be into the fourth quarter of the year. But look for that October surprise to kind of give everybody that opportunity to jump in one last time and carry the momentum higher. So let's look at real quickly a summary of what you will want to use as your price guidelines for Nvidia. There we go. 120, 115 is your pivot price. 130 represents an all clear. When we break above 130, you're outside of the top of the range, and the stock is ready to make a run probably up to that $150. 110 is where options traders are positioning themselves today for the stock to move lower, and that puts the 100 level in as a key psychological to watch. A break below that 100 means we're going to see another acceleration in the selling. 95 at the 200-day moving average would be the first buying opportunity, but keep a little money on the side in case you do see something that starts with an 8 on Nvidia. It's not out of the question for sure. That's it for today. You know what? We're following a number of other stocks. SMCI, we just did a video on last week, so check that out. We'll continue to update you on Nvidia, Tesla, IBM, and a few others as we pass through the next couple of weeks. Remember to sign up for the 5-stock watch list. Every week, Monday morning before 8 o'clock in the morning, you get 5 stocks, income, technology, growth, and a stock under 10, as well as a stock to short that week. So make sure you hit the QR code here or the link below in the description. As always, I'm Chris Johnson with Money Morning, wishing you the best trading success.